going on?
What's poppin'? MurdaMegz Radio Show. We in the building with another one, episode 2. First and foremost, I want to apologize. It's been a miscommunication with the guest that we had scheduled, Beast by J Black, but we did reschedule that. We did reschedule it, so don't worry about it. We're gonna give you all that interview, that exclusive interview, as soon as we can. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But for the most part, you're in tune to the MurdaMegz Radio Show, River West Radio 104.1 WXRWLP. I am your host, Mekamalo, along with the rest of the Milwaukee MurdaMegz. To my left, I got
Lito
and Elite Tracks
and your boy Hurricane.
No doubt. Hey, yo, MurdaMegz, we can't see you yet. We can't see you on the camera.
Yeah. I'm having some technical difficulties with my camera. I'm gonna have to start my computer really quick and then just come back in. This is quick.
All right, cool. So we're gonna get it started. While we're waiting on MurdaMegz, we're gonna get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? Let me just introduce MurdaMegz right quick, man. This is fill y'all in on who we're interviewing, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? MurdaMegz is pretty much what I would call the female version of DJ Permit.
Word.
You know what I mean? As far as the kind of tracks that she makes, how she approaches the tracks, done produced countless of records for a lot of underground hip hop artists, man, that we all know and love. Some you don't know or love, and hopefully you get a chance to hear them in the future. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very excited about this interview as well. She was scheduled later on down the line for the MurdaMegz Radio Show, but given the circumstances, we got her on here today. You know what I'm saying? So that's
we appreciate her. We appreciate her too.
no
being
doubt.
Crunch like that.
It's last minute.
Apparently, her computer didn't agree. You know what I'm saying?
word.
Yeah, but we know she's coming back in a little bit. So
I'm back in a little bit, man. So so while we waiting, man, how y'all feeling? What's going on with the squad? What's going on with everybody, man?
Oh man,
just living.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah,
getting older, man. Oh my goodness, every day, and I'm 42. So.
No doubt. How many beats y'all make this week?
Oh man, I know I made 4 or 5 myself. I'm working on.
Be honest.
I'm being honest. I'm being
honest. I believe that from him. I'm gonna say, I did 3. I got 3 in a P, like this is a bad spades hand. And
yeah, there we go.
But yeah, I definitely worked on 3 and a P.
Yeah.
All right.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been slacking. I got 1.
Lito.
To my defense, though, the week ain't over. It's only Thursday.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah, you still got time.
I still got time.
Get all that protein in.
Make sure your camera on. We got the sound. Let me get a sound check. There we go. MurdaMegz.
Y'all, I'm sorry.
You good.
You good. We appreciate you in the crunch. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Appreciate you, MurdaMegz.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
We already gave you we already gave you the shout out in the intro and all that. But we gonna get it started right away, man. We finna get it started right away. We got some things. First and foremost, if you're new to the show, we start off with the MurdaMegz News.
So let's get it on.
I got 2 things to bring up for MurdaMegz News for this episode. First and foremost, we got to talk about Mace and Cam buying the third rights for buying the rights from Dame Dash from Rockefeller. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're hip to the history, Dame and Jay been going through some legal litigation and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. With the state property and this and that. Yep, we've been there. We've seen it all.
We've seen it all. So now it comes to a shock to everybody that, wow, Mace, and shout out to Mace and Cam. You know what I'm saying? As far as the sports show, it is what it is. I watch it every day. You know what I'm saying? They done got me in trouble at work for saying pause. but that's a different story. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? So how y'all feel about that? I mean, how y'all feel about that whole move? Was it a chess move?
I think it was a chess move.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no apparent reason why.
Chess move.
Yeah, it seemed like it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, well, I mean, what do you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you not respect somebody for how they came about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you be like, this cat's whack for that, or do you just be like, well, let my lawyer handle this situation?
Right.
Because Jay offered to buy it to.
Well, he offered to buy it because he didn't want no third
Right.
party to buy it. But it's like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you see, and Dame had ownership of that company starting out and everything. And
But this is
Baby.
let me be clear. This is the third rights for the reasonable doubt catalog.
oh,
Word.
okay,
Mhm.
all
For
right.
the reasonable doubt joint. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh man,
But that's
See,
as far as my understanding, that's all Dame Dash really owned.
Mhm.
As far as you know what I mean, it's from my understanding. You know what I mean?
Word.
okay. So that whole situation right there with Dame, you know, I believe there's some kind of thing amiss. You know what I'm saying? He's trying. Like if someone is like there's something in the back. I can't even explain it.
I think what it is, you know, because you got to take into account all these brothers from Harlem. So you got to think like, you know, Dame, Mace, and Cam from Harlem. So I think them buying it from, I don't think Dame has a problem with it. Otherwise, you know, knowing how outspoken Dame is, he would have said something.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't have sold it to them. So,
Yeah,
you know
it
what
would
I
have
mean?
been all over YouTube. Yeah.
Right. So another news, a part of another news, man. You know, so yeah, man. Kane One, Milwaukee's own Kane One.
Shout out to Kane.
Shout out to Kane One. Just dropped the record. Well, he ain't dropped it, but he pretty much produced it. You know, cats be using the sample packs, B. And, you know what I mean? So he ended up co-producing a lot of records and all that. And Kevin Durant is rapping.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant and Styley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just checking this out. Like, tell more about that.
Yeah, so basically just, you know, Kane One is a Grammy winning producer, platinum plaques out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Working on the Kanye. What album was it? The God album.
The blue one. It's the All Blue album. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know, Kanye got so many albums out
Yeah,
these
he
days.
do.
This is true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So like Milwaukee's own Kane One, man, came through and blessed that, man. So shout out to Kane One.
Shout out.
You know what I mean? Because that track was hot. Just hearing Kevin Durant rap was crazy, and like he didn't disappoint. To be honest with you,
No, he was smooth.
Yeah.
He was
You know what I
smooth.
mean?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree, man. I mean, but that's the one thing that I think we lose that, man, with them being athletes. I mean, that's just like with Dame. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dame
shout out to
Dollar.
Dame Dollar.
Because you know that cat is cold. That cat is cold both
he's super
ways.
cold.
But it's like it get looked over if you're not a person that's into the music like that. You know, you just like, man, you're an athlete, bro. Just stay bouncing that ball.
Right.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
how can people sit there and say that when you know you have many other talents than just one? You can't just navigate this world without having more talents to yourself than just one. So yes, it's obvious that on their breaks, they took up something and they actually learned how to master that.
And I think with basketball and hip hop, it go hand in hand anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because basketball players want to be rappers want to be basketball players. You know what I'm saying? So
and one choose one or the other. It's just they blessed to have both avenues right there. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, even Shaq, you know what I'm saying? Shaq is an MC. He dropped albums way back.
Platinum selling MC at that. He got platinum
Yes.
plaques on his wall from rapping. He got platinum plaques and he got
championship.
NBA championship rings.
Yes, and mind you, with
You know
the
what I
raps,
mean?
it was there was never any profane words that he used.
No, he cussed a little bit.
A little bit.
He talking about Will Smith.
Think about Will Smith.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Think about Will Smith.
All right. Oh man,
Will Smith, man.
that's some stuff, man.
So yo, let's go ahead and just get to it, man. Let's get to this interview with MurdaMegz.
Gang.
MurdaMegz, you can hear me, but can't see me. It's all good. Squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Squad here. We got Olito. We got Elite Tracks. We got Hurricane here. You know what I'm saying? These are members of Milwaukee Pad Masters. You know the vibes. You seen us. You seen us go on the belt to tail tour. You know what I'm saying? You seen us bodying individuals all across the country. You know what I mean? But yeah. So basically, yo, like I said, y'all, this is MurdaMegz, man. What I would call, I refer to her as the female DJ Premier. I don't know how y'all feel. That's how I look at it. She the female DJ Premier when it comes to these tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, word.
So I want y'all to get familiar. How you doing, MurdaMegz?
I'm good. I'm good. Just got off of work and fixing up some beats, going through computers galore up until you called. I said, you know what? Okay, cool. Let's just juggle this out,
Thank you so much for thank you so much.
That.
Thank you so much for taking this interview last minute. You know what I'm saying?
And already on the beats and turnips. Already on the beats and turnips.
Right. So Megs, let's first and foremost, let's get into a little bit how we met. Shout out to Gnarly. Gnarly had she had a nationwide beat summit, beat battle, beat showcase thing going on called Secret Sauce.
Yes.
And
shout out to Gnarly for that.
Yeah, Gnarly. Yeah. I ain't heard her in a long time. Yeah, she doing her thing. Shout out to her.
Yeah, definitely. So like during the whole COVID situation, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of virtual things going on. And that's how I actually met MurdaMegz, because she me and her featured on a few Secret Sauce joints, you know what I'm saying? And that's how me and MurdaMegz, man. I don't know if you remember the episode, but I was like, yo, I need that beat, yo. Like after you played your joints and all that. Like, yo, you got some slaps, you know what I'm saying? Can you tell us a little bit about the whole Secret Sauce and like the whole, as far as your involvement in that?
Yeah.
The Secret Sauce thing, during that time, of course, the pandemic, I was, I said, you know what? I was supposed to be traveling in the first place. That's what I was supposed to be doing. I was supposed to be going out to Seattle because I was finding some things. Let me just go to Instagram and see if I could get to some battles here and there. Because if I can go to the one in St. Louis, shout out to St. Louis, I could probably, I want to expand. You know what I'm saying? So I said I was going to go to California. I booked my ticket for that. And I was going to go to Seattle, Washington. I booked my ticket for that. I wanted to go to Seattle out of two places. And I was going to go to Connecticut too. I booked my ticket for that. Right. And we wound up getting a couple cases in Pittsburgh because that's where I was flying from. Even though I live in Newcastle, basically the outskirts of Pittsburgh. I said, let me just just cancel all these trips, because if I was to get sick and get that to my mother, she was high risk at the time, rest in peace of my mom's. If I were to get this, I don't know nothing about this hair. You know what I'm saying? This is new to my body. I'm gonna have to take the L's, and I'll probably get some E credits and such and such. So I said, let me just do a couple beat videos online and stuff like that. And I guess Gnarly, she had caught me right then and there. Yeah, I don't know who sent me the message to join the secret sauce. But yeah, it was everything. It was dope. It was dope. It was a good, just to meet all the producers, male, female, all over the world. Because I know she's from the UK, somewhere in the UK. But yeah, it's awesome that I get to meet her and stuff like that. And
to the UK.
Yeah, I forgot the other girl's name. She's dope too. But speaking of Gnarly, shout out to her. If she's gonna be watching this.
Talking about Betsy, Lisa Vasquez.
Oh my goodness, it's a lot. It's a lot of us. That's damn near. She has a YouTube channel. I forgot her name. but yeah, shout out to her.
Shia, I think her name is.
Yeah. That's her. I think that's her. But
like an Asian, right? She kind of Asian, the Asian lady. She like an Asian figure genre, like.
Yeah, I heard of her, but it's another girl that's on there too. She's on there too. Yeah, I got it. Well, sooner or later we'll probably bring her up.
Right, no doubt.
But yeah, shout out to her. But yeah, the whole the whole thing that went down. I wanted to do a physical something like a just to mess around with my device, but I didn't know how to hook it up, and plus I was having difficulties with that. So I said, you know what, I'll just just go out there and do my thing. As long as I attend it, and not bail out or nothing like that and have an excuse. I'm gonna just show off and do my thing like I do usually.
So what are you using right now?
What am I using right now?
Yeah.
The Machine MK3 is what I use as far as like getting, as far as like my travel. That's my travel gear. That's what I know the most. As far as like my laptop that I'm on right now is my MacBook. Of course, this is a old joint. My mid 2012 release. Still works like new. And that's pretty much it as far as like I said, traveling and making beats and getting that product out. I mean, I work with everything else, like the MPC 2000 XL. That I got down on pat because the device, that particular device that I bought from somebody in Brooklyn, it has an 8 output in the back, and that's the most expensive one. I mean, I could have got it cheaper, but that's like I said, if you got extras, then you're gonna be paying extra, So I understood the whole thing, and it's just a bit of a terminology and all the other stuff. Just plug it up and take it to the mixer, plug it up and put it to the interface, plug it up, and then just do the MIDI clock thing. Make sure everything is synchronized, MIDI sync and clock it and all the other stuff like that. And I said, you know what? Am I going to be doing this? Am I going to keep on doing it? No. So I kept it as a collector's item. I can mess with it whenever I want, and I'm gonna just stick with the MK3. And just to, like I said, to get my product out faster, so that way I could get some placements right now.
Workflow is everything. Workflow is everything. So I completely understand, but that's dope that you got that on the side though. When you want to just be like, yeah, but that's you today,
Right.
But yeah, that's dope. I'm a machine user myself. You know what I'm saying? So and honestly, I got the old joint, like, but it's still slap though.
Yeah, it works like a charm. But I mean, I like the MPC line. Well, of course, the older MPC because it's vintage and it has a sound to it. Yeah, it's vintage sound to it. If I want, instead of me using, even though I use emulators on my my machine to give it that sound as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I like that dirt and that vintage, with my boom bap too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
No, you need that gritty. You know what I'm saying? That's the feel. That is the feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Most definitely. That's what's up with that. And I know what you're saying as far as there's presets like in the machine software. You know what I'm saying? I use like the MPC 60. Like I use that like when I'm trying to get that feel. Like I just use that as that preset along with like EQ and everything like that. But yeah, I like to use that on my drums, especially on the boom bap for sure.
Well, then there's a new little motto right there. It's not about the way the machine works. It's about how well you oil it. Pause.
And you know what? I said I was going to bring somebody up later on. We just away from that conversation. Sarah Too Ill. Yeah, Sarah Too Ill.
You just thought of it, right? Sarah Too Ill.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Right, shout out to Sarah Too Ill.
Let me ask another question. What was the first piece of equipment that you used?
First piece of equipment as far as like me getting my hands on it. The MPD 24 is the closest to the MPC, and plus it's compatible to FL Studio. When I was working with FL Studio on the PC, I couldn't afford a MacBook up until some years later. But as far as like my when I was young, going into my adolescence, I was working with my dad's SP202. I know the SP404 is popular now, and they got other versions of the SP404, but it was the SP202, which was one of the first hands-on samplers that I kidnapped for my dad.
Kidnapped.
Perfect place to describe
for myself.
By the way.
Right?
Interesting. So your dad makes beats as well.
Yes, he made beats and he DJ. Well, he's from the Bronx. I grew up in New York. Well, I was born and raised in, of course, Harlem, the west side of Harlem. And of course, he was, born and raised in, Bronx and Queens. He was back and forth to the Bronx and Queens and Forest Hills and stuff like that. And my mom, she's from here in Newcastle, of course, Pittsburgh and Newcastle, because she was back and forth as well. And, she moved to Jersey. Well, she moved to New York. And then she moved to Jersey City in Jersey. Then she went back to New York and met my dad. She was working in Brooklyn and such and such. So she was pretty much everywhere in every borough, whatever, work where she was working at, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, up until we had moved here in Newcastle in 2002, like 6 months after, of course, the tragedy of September 11th.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Never forget.
Right.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying? I got one. Got one for you, MurdaMegz. What would you say? What would you say? Because I asked Sight this too. But he had pretty much answered the question and just answered that part too. But I'm gonna ask you this: what do you think was a pivotal moment in your career? You know, or when you started your career, what was that pivotal moment that made you feel like, yeah, this is finna be it? Like I'm going to be successful at this.
As soon as I, turned 9 years old, I was like, okay, so I want to do this. That this is my thing. I was born and raised in New York. I was born around beat making and collecting vinyl records, and I'm away from home in Pennsylvania, little old Pennsylvania. I want to carry that tradition on, and that I want that to represent me as a New Yorker. Like I said, the hip hop is the birth. New York is like the birthplace of New York, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the Mecca. That's the Mecca of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Due to where I'm from. And that was my personality. Hip hop is life, you know what I'm saying? It's not just a genre, it's the way of life, it's life, that's a style, it's a culture, And ever since I turned 13, like 12, going into 13, I just, started, just getting into it, pretty much, and working with other things and just, just messing around and, putting together beats. It didn't sound good, but I know I was doing something, and I'll get better. I know that I'm going to get better. And and ever since then, I wound up getting a placement some years later. With one of my guys and in Pittsburgh. His name is Eris from Apex. Apex is a Pittsburgh hip hop boom bap group. They disbanded, because they wanted to have a solo career of their own. Of course, there's 2 people in Newcastle and two people in Pittsburgh. And so I wound up getting a placement with him, with Eris, and it blew up right then and there. And I just kept, making beats and stuff like that. And like I said, I just wound up getting placements and kept making beats. That's pretty much it. And I said, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Word, that's what's up.
Can you talk about some of the placements that you got, and like talk about some of the placements that you got, and talk about one of the most, like, talk about that, because every producer got that one placement where it's like, yeah, I'm in the game now.
What was that first bag? Like, what was that first bag?
The first joint, yeah. Because I know some of your catalog, so I'm gonna see if you say who I think you're gonna say. We gonna see what's going on.
Now that placement is still on YouTube to this day. It came out in 2013. The single actually came out in June, but the album came out in July. And everybody just started hitting me up right then and there. And and then up until some years later, I wound up collabing with Seed, the Bad Seed, if you're familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to fast forward some years later. The first 2 placements that I got with him was Uber and was it Uber and Bake Sale. Bake Sale was the one that took off pretty much. It was Uber. It started with that, but Bake Sale wound up getting a radio placement with DJ Premier's headquarters at the time when he was with Sirius XM, even though he's not with Sirius XM no more. He's with Twitch. He's doing his own thing with Twitch.
Yeah,
but that was the one
that too. I noticed that. I listened to XM.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's just, I think it's Static Selector. Then it's, of course, Raps Out of Control, which is the most. I would say that's the most popular. Everybody goes to that pretty much. But yeah, and then most of the tracks that I did with him with the second album placements that I got with him is, of course, it's two more, which is Call It What You Want, and Bob the Builder. That's C for you. Right. Shout out to him. That's my brother, and I love him to death. But Call It What You Want landed with Raps Out of Control some months later. So, and what you call it, Eclipse and Riggs, they just started playing, everything, well, pretty much everything that I produced, almost about everything that I produced, back to back.
That's dope.
Yeah,
that's really dope.
Nice.
So I guess for myself, I have a question for you. So like you may have answered this, but when in your life did you realize that making music was more than just making the beat? Like, for example, like you start out a beat where and whatnot, and you build it, and then when you're younger, you're not really thinking about mixing and everything and all that. Like, what point in your life made you realize that it was more than just that?
Yeah, thank God you asked that question. I made a beat when I was 15, 16 years old. Okay. And I had passed it to one of my guys around the way because they just come through and we just record just to fool around and this and that, and we wanted to make a record. And he had told me, he said, "You ever thought about putting together 16s?" And I said, "Oh yeah, because I was using the demo version at the time, and I can't really now. The only time you will open the file is when you buy it. You have to buy the full version to open the file." But the only way that I could save it at the time when I was doing the demo versions is exporting it. Once that file is gone, it's gone. You know, because I couldn't save because I didn't have, even though I could have, but I don't have all of that to be doing all that. But
shout out to the beginnings, right?
It's just too much money. Yeah, it's just way too much money. You're talking about $100 for a software, but then again, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth a while. But yeah, I just never thought about putting together as far as like counting my bars. I knew what I was doing when I was doing the chorus part, but when it comes to that 16, that verse, I never really counted it out. You know, I just was doing my thing and I thought I knew what I was doing. But then it was that, you know, that could have been that opportunity to end that in a 16. And then, of course, they could have ended with, you know, like an 8 or something like that. So that's when I realized that, okay, so it's just more than just making sounds, making a beat. You got, when you make a song, you got to make sure you got like 8 to 16 and, you know, make sure you got your beginning and your end and make sure everything is mixed, you know, of course, the mixing and mastering part is definitely important, you know.
Right. For everybody listening, especially for the youth coming up. You know, song format is everything. So, you know, learn that early. Learn it as early as possible because that can get you a break and you be good for the rest of your life, you know. Just and especially if you already dope, you know, you got somebody around you that's already looking at what you're doing and they say you dope already, but you just gotta do this and that or whatever. Song format definitely when you're dealing with artists that's key. That's the first thing.
One of them chapters.
So with your pop DJing and everything like that, you got a little bit experience in that field as well?
Yeah, as far as like mixing and blending and DJing, a little bit of scratching. I mean, I could have, you know, just a little bit of scratching here and there, as long as I don't, you know, not get myself, you know, don't get lost too much, you know what I'm saying? As far as like not corrected, right? You have to, So I definitely gotta get up to par with my scratching and stuff like that. Because sometimes when you scratch, it's addicting and you cannot stop. Or if you haven't been on your turntable so long, sometimes you can, you know, lose that there. So yeah, that's what because I like to make beats. I like to be behind the scenes and be behind the boards and putting together a song. You know, so that's my favorite. I mean, it was to the point to where I wanted to write rhymes. I wanted to actually rap. You know, so I was writing in school and all the other stuff like that, and I was supposed to be doing my work. I'm really supposed to be doing my work other than writing rhymes.
You know them moments.
In civics class, write rhymes. Like,
that writing your homework up or class work and everything.
It's supposed to be, you know, and I don't know if I know this is this is weird because of course most women don't like the age to be asked, but if you wouldn't mind, tell us how old you are.
How old am I? Right. Well,
like how old?
Right now. 31. 31.
Fair question.
31. As far as my age now, but yeah.
Infinity. There we go. Infinity.
Right.
Infinity.
No, that's
Spirit never dies.
Thank you for sharing that. Like I said, I know that's a touchy one, just because I don't
ask a woman her age, man.
I know what's wrong with me.
Right
I
now?
know what's wrong with me. I got problems. My mom ain't teach me right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Hey man, so I have a question. So sampling, right? Sampling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna name a few things, and you let me know what's the best way to go about this. CDs, vinyl, or YouTube?
Everything. Well, all of it. Everything and all of
there
it.
we go.
Yeah,
Good
Yeah,
answer.
whatever.
Right.
It's just
like
the reason of that is because whatever I can get, whatever sounds good, whatever piece sounds good to me, and whatever I can get my hands on. It's just all about that piece, whether it's a drum break, whether it's a piece of a melody, whether it's 8 seconds of it, 10, 12 seconds of it, maybe up to a minute. I can get away with it, or whatever the case may be. But it's just whatever I can get my hands on, what sounds dope. You know.
And I know it's the convenience too, which is the thing too, is like, because like you said, everything is good. Everything is good because you know, I mean, if I got my phone right next to me, I ain't finna go. If I ain't got the vinyl sitting next to me, I'm gonna plug my phone in.
Right.
I'm just gonna line in.
Whatever,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like whatever's accessible, man, and that is the convenience of sampling. You know what I'm saying? Which is that's super dope that we could do that.
Absolutely.
And it's also the difference in the quality too. You know, it's everything, but yet certain things give off a certain kind of filter. And you know, like vinyls give off that natural lo-fi feel, where you have YouTube, which are high quality. Hey, you know, I could totally get that. Every format is good.
Yeah, just how it sounds, like you said too. It's all about how it sounds. It's like
even people can sample from old video game consoles too. You know, if you found something in that, or VHS, if you still got that, if you do, keep it.
Yeah, that's just RCA. That's just RCA cables. You can, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can go put them in the mixer. You know what I'm saying?
Like a plug and play.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. So I mean, let's keep it moving. Yo, River West Radio, WXRW 104.1 FM. You're now in tune to the Pad Masters Radio show. How that's your boy.
Know it.
MurdaMegz is in the building.
Yeah.
Gang.
So Megz, let me ask you this, Mil. You know, usually I'd be like, you know, top 5 producers. I'm gonna ask you that later. You know what I'm saying? But I will ask you this. Because you also pay attention to the finger drumming community as well. Do you have a top 5 finger drummer list?
Finger drummer. Gnarly, most definitely. That's as far as like female, mainly female was, but as far as like the first person that came to my mind, Gnarly.
Right.
You, Mr. Mecca. You.
Oh, there we go. Gang.
Who else? Oh my goodness. Who else? Oh my goodness. I mean, I forgot some of the names when it comes to finger drumming.
Gotta put A-Rab up there somewhere.
Yeah. A-Rab. Yeah. That
Shout
one.
out to A-Rab music.
Yep, shout out to A-Rab music.
I know Lisa Viscus, she does finger drumming too.
Shout out Lisa. Yeah. I'm trying to get her on the show too. I'm trying to get Lisa on the show.
Yeah, and I know JP the producer. That's my I love her. That's my sis. That's my homegirl. I love her to death. She does some finger drumming on the side as well. You know, in some of her videos, I caught her red-handed doing some finger drumming. Let me find out. But yeah, she's dope as well. Yeah, she's dope.
You don't get down on the pads?
I would sound like a whole one band man mess if I make an attempt doing that. I gotta have a lot of practice doing that. So I'll leave it to whoever I name. I'll leave it to them. But maybe one day, maybe someday, if I would, to get it done, like I said, just to get it down right and practice, then you would see me on a video doing that one day.
Okay. What's your favorite DAW?
My favorite DAW, FL Studio. FL Studio and Machine and Native Instruments Machine, of course, because of the drum machine that I work with, And how to end it all, of course, the final product, FL Studio. So that's a good combo.
Wow. So how does that work? So how does that work using Native Instrument in conjunction with FL Studio? How does that work? I never heard that one before.
Yeah, that is a weird mix though, but that's a perfect combination in a way.
How I get this is how I try to get down with it and get around it. I just usually make the beat on Machine, on Native, of course, the Machine 2 software. Then I just whatever I do with it, and I just go to the songboard, put it together, and just pre-finish the song right then and there. And what I do is I just export out all, like, it's just tracking out, virtually tracking out.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I do, I just take those very same track outs, or those waves, which is like the sample, the drums, the kicks, the bass drum, or bass line, with or without a bass line, depends on the ideal, or whatever other sounds I got. Then I track it, just put it on to the FL Studio in that folder. Of course, click, hold, and drag constantly. Then before I do all that, I just set the tempo first, so that way it won't be out. Yeah, so that's the first thing that I learned. It's just setting the tempo first, so that way it won't sound like it's off. And then I just lay down the tracks, and then just cut it up, do breakdowns, and turn it up, turn it down, because I know on Machine it's a whole different digital audio workstation DAW. Right. And of course it's compressed. Everything is so compressed and normalized there. So you might have to compress, or you might have to turn some things down, and or normalize some stuff here and there, depending on what all you worked with as far as like the Machine 2. Right. Sometimes in my Machine 2, it depends on the drums. Now, if I have to use Serato sample, then I will do that. Because when I mess with my drums, it's just something about the time stretching when it comes to messing with the pitch. Sometimes when you pitch it down, it has like a slow. Of course, it makes it slow. I don't want it slow. I want it the way it is. And if you pitch it up, it makes it fast, and I don't want it fast. But that's the reason of Serato sample, to keep that. I guess it separates everything, so that way when you pitch it up or pitch it down, it doesn't mess with it. It doesn't mess with your time stretching. If you want, that's a good option. But yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, that's dope. So Serato sample. Now I just got put on to the Serato sample. One of my buddies, my homeboy B Love, shout out B Love. He just got that or whatever, and he is ecstatic about it. So can you just explain to the listeners about what Serato sample completely does? I know it kind of speaks for itself, but I know there's still some other things in there.
To me, well, speaking from as far as like my experience in messing with the product, it's like an extra. It's basically an extra to me. Like I said, once you put your sound, you can open it up as a VST. You can put your sample or your drums in it. Then you can either, like I said, slow it down, speed it up, or what it does is that once you put your time, of course, you would have to put your beats per minute on Machine, and it follows that beats per minute. And either you want the time stretching to be a little slow, you can mess with it. It does have that time stretching feature and that pitch feature. And the cool thing, like I said, the cool thing about it is that every time you pitch it up and pitch it down, it does not mess with your time stretching. So that's one thing that I like about the software. But yeah, like I said, the product speaks for itself. If you try it, you'll definitely you'll love it. I promise you'll love it. But and speaking of Serato sample, speaking of Serato sample, there is another. I guess it's supposed to be a new program called Serato Stems, because of this whole this AI STEM thing that's going on this phone and stuff like that, and on the computer and softwares. So I guess they came out with their own, and under their Serato, line is Serato STEM. So of course that you can just separate. We already know what it does. It just separates. Just put the song in there, and it just separates from like these drums and its vocals and the guitars and all the bass line and
like all the components. It separates.
Right. He just released the Stems program too for that.
And you know what? I should and unfortunately, my computer is kind of outdated. I'm still in High Sierra, so there's no way that I can upgrade it to at least Mojave, which is 10.14, or at least Catalina, which is 10.15. You know, Catalina is I guess that's the only thing it could take, but I guess it's outdated because the servers are down. So I'm just stuck until I get a new computer, or if I can find a tech that can at least get me to Catalina and I can work with Serato stems. But another way that I can do it is that I can just go into my phone and look for a software or app that's similar that does that, which I did. It's called Moises, if I'm saying it right. And of course, I just pay for it monthly, because the other one that I had to pay for it weekly. I said, no, I'm gonna just look for something that pays monthly, and it pretty much does everything the same, you know. And I'm happy with that decision. And yep, that's the best thing.
Yes. Yo, if you can choose one MC, right, just one, or maybe a group, but if you can choose one MC that you haven't worked with yet, that you would love to do, like, rather a single or an album or an EP or an LP with, who would that person be?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot.
But just give me your top three then. Instead of just naming one, give me three of them.
Three. Royce the 5'9".
Oh,
that's who I want to work with. Royce the 5'9".
Don't leave us on a cliffhanger now.
Razzcast.
Royce,
shout out Razzcast.
Shout out Royce and Razzcast.
Both, yeah.
And who else? There's one. Come on, one. I could take a little old school to that. How about Eric Sermon? Either Redman from somebody from the Hit Squad, Def Squad.
Yeah.
Either Redman or Eric Sermon. One of those two. But I leaned towards Eric Sermon.
Shout out Redman.
Yeah. Shout out
Eric Sermon.
Shout out. Matter of fact, as far as Redman and Razzcast, I can definitely, me personally, I can get your beats to them. Just so you know, I can get you beats. I can get you beats to them for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Look, Mecca Wireless. Mecca Wireless. No connection source.
4K, 5G, whichever one.
Connected, highly respected, man.
That's what's up, man.
So yeah. Let me see what. So many other things I can ask, man. I think what I'm gonna ask now, basically is as far as with when it comes to production, because everybody got their own method on making beats. Me personally, I'm just now getting into the mode of starting off with the drums first. I'm just now starting off. I start off with the melody and things like that. But what do you usually what do you usually do first? The drums, or do you usually like do you do chops first, melody first? What's your go-to first?
I could do it either way. If I hear the sample first, okay, so let me go to the sample or if I hear like something in my drum, whether it's in YouTube or in my drum collection, I can either go to the drums, break it down, then go to the sample, or like I said, I'm either way with it as long as the projects get done, the way they're supposed to be in my mind, But it really wouldn't matter to me as long, like I said, as long as it sounds dope. Yeah, that's mine.
Nice. Yeah. So I got one for you. So of course we know you get down with the boom bap. Is there any other genre that you would like to maybe start experimenting in?
House music. Because my mother, she loved house music. That was her thing. She always bumped house. Even when I was little, it's just this Chicago house music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's up tempo. It's got that thump to it. I dig that. That's a cool choice. That's
footwork music. You got that footwork.
Yes, they do.
All right.
Yes, they do. And shout out to Chicago. Shout out to because I've been there. A few times here and there. Yeah, I've been there.
I mean, went to Chicago and you may come out here and mess with Milwaukee. We are right down the block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I gotta go down there one day. Yeah.
Right down the block. I remember back in the day. See, we from Milwaukee, so we call house music percolator music.
Oh yeah.
We call it percolator. We call it the perk.
It's time for the
percolator. We call it the
percolator. Yeah, the old school. When you heard that come on, you know it was time to dance. You didn't even have to know how to dance.
No,
for that song to just come on and you just start moving. Like
right.
Yeah, that song didn't even need a DJ that like it didn't even need a DJ to intro it. It had its own intro. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Every Friday night, you knew 9 o'clock hit.
Facts. Real facts. So what was I want to kind of go back to the beginning of this interview when you were speaking on, you know, as far as growing up and you watching your pops do his thing and all that. What was that household like? What was it like growing up in a house where, like, you know your pops making this music and you see him doing this thing? Was he using the MPC back then too, right? So you seen your pops use the MPC, or what was it? What did you see him use, and what was it like growing up in that kind of environment?
It was SP12. Well, of course, the SP1200. He had copped that. I think it was the 80, because I'm pretty sure there's an SP12, then which is, it's like the blue joint, and you only get like 5 seconds of sampling time. Which was
absolutely,
yeah. And now they had upped it to the SP1200, which you get 10 seconds of sampling time, which is still pitiful. And they came out with the 80s edition and then the 90s edition. I guess the 90s edition, I guess you get more features, and that was their last of it. Because if you were to get it, then they would have this seal on there saying SP1200 final, and then the number would be on there. But yeah, I think it was the 80s edition is what he got. And yeah, he was bumping that, and he had a Korg keyboard, and he had like racks. It's nothing but rack systems. That was his thing. It was just rack systems, equalizers, like whatever bands he got, and you know, it was just nothing but rack systems with him. That's his favorite. And of course, Technique turntables. Of course, a Vestax, you know, mixer, the gray joints. I mean, they got the black one, the black joints too, but it's the gray one that he had. And yeah, and the JS30 that I'll just refresh my memory. The JS30 by Roland, he would use that to, you know, sample or do some type of MIDI clock or MIDI sync with that. And he had many things, but
shout out to MIDI. Just shout out to the act of using a MIDI controller to be able to MIDI anything, do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, because back in the day, we did the MIDI MPC. We had the MPC 2000 XL MIDI to the Korg Triton.
I remember that.
Man, that combination was like the industry standard.
Crazy combination. You know I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, and this was like late 90s. So
yes,
and man, the sounds coming out of that, the sounds when you use drums from the Korg in the MP.
Yeah, it sounds way crispier. It's totally different. Yeah. That's crazy you brought that up, bro. That's it sounds way, because like if you the drums on the Triton, it's like they just drums on the Triton, bro. But when you run it through that MIDI through the MP, bro, they just crunch way harder, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like a superpower within a superpower.
It is.
Yeah. So because you know, and they had like kits, you know, they had like drum kits and everything like that. So like you could just grab like just like a standard, like just studio, you know, just regular like drum set. But you grab that bass drum from that drum set and that drum kit. And yeah, they went through that MP, man. All of a sudden, you like, boom. And what is that? Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Like, man, hold on.
Right.
It's the 808. It's that bump to it, that 808. Yeah, it's something about that. That's why I use 808s to this day, because I like it, because it gives it that feel, you know.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the
808. The 808s. Yes. You just took me down memory lane right quick, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Triton MIDI up with the Triton MIDI, the Triton Extreme or the Triton.
Now which will because you had the Triton LE.
Yeah, the Triton LE.
But
yeah,
I remember that
Studio. We had
yeah.
That was that was touch face, all of that. That Triton Studio was actually dope. The 61 key.
Yeah, if that kick don't make your chest shake, you ain't experiencing an earthquake.
Real talk, man.
All right,
speaking of mixers, I'm sorry. I don't want to forget about this. It was a mixer that he got that I left something out. It was the Tascam because everybody in their mama had a Tascam.
Yes,
yeah. And it was like the cassette. It was the cassette joints. Yeah,
the 8-track joint. I
know. Y'all taking it back now.
Yeah,
y'all taking it back now. The Tascam 4-track cassette tape recorder.
Yeah,
I had the Tascam 4-track cassette tape recorder, Radio Shack mic.
Oh yeah,
and the Boss DR5.
Oh yeah, the Boss DR5 though. Stop playing. Stop playing.
Hey,
that has some sounds in it.
Producers go to.
I was good on that. I was good with that. You make a beat on the DR5 and make it sound like you use the Triton. You going somewhere in life.
For real.
Yeah, that's the guarantee right there. When you know how to mess with the equipment right, you can bring sounds out that you didn't even think you were going to bring out.
Yeah.
And that's the most amazing thing about producing. And shout out to producing period for that.
Right.
Because you can make anything sound like it's a different machine as long as you know how to work with it.
Yeah. When the whole thing too, the most gratifying thing for me, I think, is when you're using something and then cats ask you what you use. You got people ask you what you use, and they like, you use that?
Right.
That right there is just straight gratifying, because then it's like, I obviously just used this. I twerked it different than who else might have used it, or somebody who might have that in their possession. And they like, dog, you did that? I ain't never done that with that.
Right.
So that's, shout out to anybody that can manipulate what they use in to sound like something else.
Right. Man.
There's one type of drum machine and sampler that I will never forget. It's a Zoom. It's named Zoom, but they call it, I can't, it's a specific name to it, the type of sampler, but they called it the poor man's SP1200. If you can get that, then that an alternative, it makes it sound like you have a SP1200. And it's small, it's like a purple, and it's like a small joint too.
Right.
Yeah, that was a dope piece too. Yeah, that was dope too.
So while we're on this topic, give us your top five drum sequences of all time. Top 5 drum machines of all time. Yeah,
top 5.
Let us get at. Yeah, top 5 drum machines ever. You gotta ask you that.
The MPC 2000 XL most definitely is at the top, regardless of what I used. I got to put that at the top.
Okay.
And due to my experiences, at the MK, the Machine MK1 was the first piece as far as being in the Native Machines line, and of course the MK3. I'm gonna put that on the third, which is my upgrade. That was like an upgrade for me.
Right.
So that's 3 so far. Number 2, the SP1200, due to what I've witnessed,
Right.
Yes, what is it? SP202, and then the SP1200. So that's 5.
Word.
Dope.
All right.
Word. And that's
tough.
Yeah, and that's a vintage, and that's you know what I'm saying, like to a degree. I mean, because how long is it? I mean, the MK3 and the MK2, they've been out for a while, right?
Yeah.
And then they got the studio one too.
Right.
The MK1, then of course they got the micros, then the MK2, then the studio, and then of course they came up with it. And plus they came up with the Plus too. That's where I need to get my hands on.
That's actually a really solid piece of equipment.
I must say,
the standalone, man, it's dope.
Right.
I must say, I know my man's asked you your age earlier, but you obviously younger than us, right? So, but you obviously younger than us for sure. But I just want to point out just me knowing that, right? And your knowledge on hardware equipment as it pertains to music production is outstanding. I just want to just make some noise for that. That's going to make some noise.
Round of applause for you.
Real talk.
You know what I mean? Pops made sure he held you down with the knowledge on that. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Before we go, I gotta ask you 2 more questions. We got a few more minutes here. Top 5 boom bap producers of all time.
Top 5. DJ Premier one. DJ Premier,
of course.
yeah, one of them.
You're the female DJ Premier in mine, so
So he had to be in there somewhere. He had to.
Yeah. Pete Rock is number 2.
Yeah.
And The Alchemist is number 3.
Yes.
Even though he's from LA, but of course he to me he rep Queens. I don't care because he worked with Big
I know,
Queens.
right?
Yes.
And Prodigy, rest in peace. He worked with Prodigy. That I know that was his guy.
Mhm.
He's proud.
Who else? Large Professor. That's my guy.
Right.
That's 4 so far, right?
Yeah.
And I'm missing somebody.
That drum roll.
I'm waiting on you to say it. I think
I can never forget about Q-Tip. Well, you know what? I should have did Q-Tip remind you know what? Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla. I should have said that.
Yeah.
You can't like top 5 boombap producers. You ain't mentioned Jay Dilla.
One of my
crazy.
favorite micro samplers of all time. Thank you.
Yeah.
I still got to.
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy. You ain't mentioned Jay Dilla. I'm like, oh no, I know she ain't gonna leave my man. He's Jay Dilla.
R.I.P. Jay Dilla.
This hell 1 star.
And here's my wild card. The 2 of my wild cards. Nick Wiz. I don't know if you're familiar with Nick Wiz. That worked with Shabam Sadiq and Cellar Dwellers. I think he worked with Cellar Dwellers back in the day, if I'm correct or not. Yeah. Speaking of Cellar Dwellers, thanks to Seed, I got something with them right along with Seed, and it's coming out in March, right along with the compilation album. Yeah, Everything Means Nothing. So make sure you look out for that.
Right.
Yeah, Nick Wiz and who else? RZA.
Yeah. Yep.
No doubt.
RZA.
Yeah.
I should have said True Master if I want to be like that. I should have said True Master.
Yeah. Old soul.
This MurdaMegz y'all listening to right here, man. The Pad Masters Radio Show, River West Radio, 104.1 WXRW. LP, man. MurdaMegz top 5 right there, man. Respected, check it, or neglected. You heard?
No.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, MurdaMegz, before we get out of here, yo, first of all, thank you so much for taking this show last minute. Daisy moving around, moving and grooving. Shout out to Jay Black. You know what I'm saying? We got you next time, homie.
Right.
Sorry for the miscommunication. Before we get out of here, though, let everybody know what's next for MurdaMegz. What you got going on? What you working on right now?
Right, because you said that one project, but I think it's got to be more. Come on.
Right. Yep. The main project, as far as like what's coming up, what's closer. Everything Means Nothing. Of course, the Bad Seed presents the 6, which is 6 Man Entertainment. Everything Means Nothing. That's coming out in March 20th. Sometimes the dates might change because that's Seed. He wants it out, and he wants it out now. And there was the first one that came out, Volume 1, that came out on his birthday on Bandcamp, and it's Bandcamp only. Unfortunately, it won't be on streamings due to the whole controversy with the streaming thing. And we all know what the deal is with that. So Bandcamp is where it's at. And of course, Volume 2 will be on Bandcamp as well, Bandcamp only released. And I will be arriving in New York on the 14th, 15th, and I'll be leaving on the 16th. There is something going on the 15th of March. There's not a cool table, because we just did a cool table in February for his birthday party, as a matter of fact. And I'll be at the Secret Port in Brooklyn, on the 15th. I'll be performing, me, JP, and another producer, I forgot his name, because it's a lot of names on it, performances and beat performances, and it'll be hosted by Lifelong. Shout out to Lifelong, Stronghold. And of course, Respect to God, he'll be hosting it as well.
No doubt.
And in Producer Corner news, the Producers Corner will be traveling out to Malaga, Spain, on the 17th. Even though we will be departing on the 17th, we will be arriving on not the 17th, the 27th, May 27th, and we'll be arriving on the 28th, because I know it's next day and it's like 6 hours ahead. So we'll be arriving on the 28th. We'll be leaving out on the 3rd. We're just sightseeing, and we'll have the show like we do every Saturdays around 4 or 5, p.m. in New York Eastern Standard Time. And what else? And just,
Eastern Standard, but New York Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
No, this time.
No doubt.
Get that timestamp correct. Yep.
No doubt. But yeah, yo, we gotta cut it. Yo, like I said, yo, episode 2 is in the books. The Pad Masters Radio Show, River West Radio 104.1 WXRWLP. Thanks a lot, MurdaMegz. Appreciate you.
Respect.
Work. Thank you for having me here. Definitely appreciate it.